So everyone in the market is telling you, create an offer, create a great offer, but no one's actually telling you why it's important, and more importantly, what an offer actually is and how to create one that actually works in today's landscape in 2024. So what actually is an offer? Because you've probably been told thousands of different things what an offer actually is. Usually they're vague explanations and no one's actually telling you what it truly is. And in order to work out what it is, it's helpful to work out what it is not. So I define an offer as everything that your prospect sees before actually making a decision to buy from you or not to buy from you. So it's literally everything that your prospect is seeing before they make that final decision as to whether they're going to become a client or whether they're not going to become a client, whether they're going to buy your service, whether they're not going to buy your service. And an offer certainly is not just a crazy headline claim. Like a lot of people say an offer is literally just, I help X do X with Y. Like that's not what an offer is. It's not just a crazy outcome statement. It's not a crazy headline claim. It's not a vague promise without any clear benefits. It's not an impersonal advertisement to anyone in the market, lacking any relevance to any specific target market. And it's certainly not just a one-size-fits-all solution. So just to get a really clear idea of what an offer actually is, you can see it as everything that the prospect sees before making a decision to buy from you or not to buy from you. So it can be broken down into two main elements. Your market messaging, which is your target audience, value proposition, using scarcity and urgency, social proof, and your guarantee. And that's mostly before the call in the form of marketing. And then you've got the core pillars. So essentially this is what your service actually looks like on the back end. And you're going to be communicating this to your prospects as well. So this is 3 to 5 steps, ideally, that your ideal customer has to go through to achieve their dream outcome. And this includes, as well as the core pillars, your product service description and pricing as well. And this is mainly disclosed on the call in the form of sales. So an offer, if we're seeing it as everything that the prospect sees before deciding to become a client, you can split it into marketing and sales. And this comes together to form what we know as to be an offer. So now we know what an offer actually is, and this is an extremely clear framework that you can perceive offers with. We can go about creating one. And the first step to actually creating a core offer and a great offer that actually works in this day and age, when the marketplace has just seen all these crazy claims, is to actually get crystal clear on exactly who your target audience is. So you can't create any sort of working, cohesive offer if you don't know who it's for. It's actually impossible. Like there's literally no way to do it. Yes, you can do it, but it won't be a true offer and you won't know who it's for, so there's no point in doing it. So in my opinion, in your target audience, when picking it, you should have some degree of interest or skill set in the target audience that you pick, because it's going to be a lot easier for you to do the work. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get results because you have more of an affinity to that target audience. Ideally, if you have both, if you have an interest in the target audience and you have some degree of evidence or skill set in that existing target audience, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to get great results. And it's not like we're chaining you to this target audience until the end of time when you're building an offer. It can always change. And the best way to validate whether or not you actually want to pick this as your target audience is to actually speak to them. So you can simply contact them and find out their pain points, their goals, their fears, their dreams, what actually drives them. And more importantly, as important as this, you want to discover any potential solutions that they'd be interested in to solve any of the problems that they're currently facing and to achieve their goals as well. So not only are you finding out what drives them, but you're also finding out where they'd be comfortable investing their money in a solution that would actually solve their biggest pain points. So if they don't have a desire to invest enough in a solution to a problem that they have, then again, the need isn't there. So you're going to be communicating and speaking with your target audience every single day for as long as you're in the niche. So you need to make sure that you actually get on with the people who you'll be serving, because you're going to be spending a hell of a lot of time with them. You're going to be reaching out to them, so you're going to be speaking their language. When you're not doing outreach, you're going to be speaking to these people on the sales calls. You're going to be making content for them. You're going to be working with them on the back end and communicating with them. So it makes sense that you have an interest in these people and you actually get along with them well. And the best way to find out whether or not you get on well with this niche is to actually speak to them. Like I said, I've got tons of videos on my channel where you can actually find out how to validate a niche and how to see if they're a good fit for you. So you want to keep these two principles in mind when picking a target audience. You want to sell to people who actually have money, who actually have a problem, and who actually can allocate money to solving that problem. Otherwise, you're going to go your entire journey with this offer banging your head against the wall because these people don't actually want to allocate money to solving a problem because it's not big enough. And in a lot of cases, they don't have money. So also your target audience, they have to have a clear common problem that you can solve. So it's not good enough for only one or two people in the niche to have a problem. It needs to be the majority of the people in the niche that you're serving are actually suffering with a problem that you can solve with a solution. It doesn't have to be a specific industry as well. When we're talking about target audience, everyone likes to throw out different industries out there, so like real estate, e-commerce, but you can look at it in a different vertical. It can simply just be a set of characteristics that a group of people possess. So it could be mothers between 30 and 50 years old that want to lose weight. It doesn't have to be a specific industry. It can literally be anything. As long as it's a set of characteristics that people possess and they have a pain point in common and they have money, it's a good industry worth looking into. It's a good niche worth looking into. Step 2 is really defining the core pillars. So now you've found out your target audience, you've found out they have a problem, and you've found out a solution that they'd be looking for. You can create core pillars, which is essentially defining your service that they'd have to go through in order to make that transformation go from A to B with your service. So 3 to 5 is an ideal amount. And these pillars are essentially clear and logical steps that your target customer has to overcome and has to basically join the journey with you to take themselves from A to B with your product, your service, and achieve their desired outcome. So you want to align these pillars as closely as possible with the key things that the prospect has to do and that you're going to do on your end to achieve that desired outcome. So the steps that you incorporate here should be designed and adapted to solve that biggest problem that you've found that target audience has. So this is a key stage in moving you away from being commoditized. A lot of people don't take the time to map out the core pillars, the journey that the prospect's going to take, the things that you're going to have to put in on your side to get them that dream result. And they'll treat things like Facebook ads as an offer, and they'll have no pillars in terms of their delivery to how the prospect's actually going to get their dream outcome and how you're going to help them get there as well. So saying something like we help e-commerce stores with Facebook ads is a great example of how to not position yourself, because you look exactly the same as everyone else and there's no difference in how you're helping them get that end result, and there's no unique mechanism. So for example, here's an example of 3 key pillars that you could use for a service that, let's say, helps advertising agencies at 70 plus K a month, which is what we do. So pillar 1 could be go-to-market strategy, so helping them with their offer creation, helping them define their ideal customer and building out a pricing analysis. Pillar 2 could be lead generation, so setting up an outbound system, campaign management, appointment setting. Pillar 3 could be sales enablement, so helping them with the sales script, tracking their calls, improving their calls, coaching them on how to do sales effectively. So this is just an example of 3 key pillars. And what these 3 key pillars do is they all contribute to what the biggest goal of an advertising agency is, which is signing more clients and getting more revenue. Every single pillar in this, so pillars 1 to 3, all contribute and all work in cohesion to get that prospect's dream outcome, which is additional revenue and signing more clients. Step 3 is building out a value proposition. And what a value proposition is, it's essentially your I help statement. So it's basically the outcome that the prospect is likely to receive and that they would ideally receive from engaging in your solution and working through the core pillars. So you've probably heard it a million times that you want to sell the destination and not the plane journey. You want to sell the trip away to the Bahamas. You don't want to sell the 12-hour plane trip. So essentially, if you start talking about the means and not the ends, the prospect has nothing to really reference their frame of mind to, and they lose interest very quickly because you're talking about all the technical stuff. Maybe you're talking about setting up the CRM, running ads correctly, doing all these things, but you're not talking about a tangible end goal that the prospect is going to get. And as important as this isn't the only thing we want to do either. Prospects in today's day and age, when everyone's throwing out these crazy claims, above all, they want to feel understood. And we want to find that perfect middle ground between talking about the outcomes that a prospect is going to get from your offer, and then also using market insights that we found from the market research and identifying your target customer, to reference their specific pain points and goals. So here's just an example of something that talks about a tangible outcome and also references and brings up pain points and goals of who we're serving. So for example, you could say, we help coaches and consultants in the United States save 15 to 20 hours per week, tangible outcome, automating repetitive tasks through Zapier. So a pain point for coaches and consultants is they're doing a lot of repetitive tasks that cost them a lot of time and a lot of money as well. And we're literally saying how much we can help them save in terms of a time period, and also how we're going to do that, and how we're actually going to solve that, what our unique mechanism is, and we're reducing the repetitive tasks that they're going to have to go through. So it addresses a tangible outcome, and it also addresses a pain point that they have. So another example could be, I help real estate agents grow with Facebook ads. Like, this isn't an offer. So the first one actually calls out a specific target market. It mentions a clear outcome, and it references a unique mechanism that would use to deliver on the service. Like, prospects want to buy into things that are interesting, that are sexy, that are appealing, not just the age-old Facebook ads that isn't talking about a tangible outcome and has been said a million different times and makes you look exactly the same as everyone else who's using that same offer. So even if the delivery is different, like even if you're saying to prospects like you're using Facebook ads, like that could be a part of what you do, but you could do loads of other things around that. If you're leading with I help you grow with Facebook ads, the prospect is never going to see you as anything different because you look exactly the same as all of your competitors. And if you're thinking about how can I actually list out clear benefits, how can I actually talk about the end result, you want to just get like all of the pillars to your offer and list out all the components that you have within there and list out what tangible outcomes the prospect can get from going through that process. And if you can't think of enough, if you can't think of a clear tangible outcome, then what you're building and the offer that you're building probably doesn't solve a big enough problem, which is probably not worth building out. Headline claims are part of your value proposition, and then tying in your prospect's pain is also a crucial part of this as well. So it's not about doing one, it's not about doing the other, it's about tying them in together and making it cohesive for the prospect. So talking about the prospect's pain is really just led by raising their awareness and making them aware of the pain that they currently have, because anyone at any time has a bunch of problems that they're dealing with, and they're aware of those problems, but they're not consciously going through life thinking all the time, I have this problem, I need to solve this problem. So you have to bring that awareness up to the surface in your marketing, make them aware of it, and then talk about a tangible outcome of how you can solve that problem and what you can do, getting them that end result. So in the example above, it was having to do repetitive tasks. That was a pain point for coaches and consultants. And the mechanism that we talked about, so what summarized the core pillars of our offer, was automating these tasks through Zapier and clearly addressing that pain point. So again, you can experiment with different offer headlines and references to your target market as you learn more about them and what actually drives them to make a decision. As you get on more calls with them, as you offer your product more, as you sell more, you're going to get a lot more insights in terms of your target market and what really appeals to them. So you can experiment with different headlines and different pain points that your target market is suffering with. The next stage is pricing. So stage 4 is pricing. And your pricing is genuinely one of the biggest forms of leverage. It's what separates big businesses from small businesses. And the first step is determining how to price your offer. And you want to make sure that that's dependent on the value that you're offering and what value that actually is providing to your target audience. So you want to see that essentially the value of what you're offering should outweigh what you're doing for your prospects, if that makes sense. So you want to be offering a lot more value. Like, the value should outweigh the price, essentially. And it's key to basically take a step back and not look at it from a biased point of view, because you will have built this offer. You want to look at it objectively and think, okay, what's the actual value that the prospect is going to get from this? How likely is it to provide the outcome for that customer? And with these key things in mind, as well as looking at this value equation here, their dream outcome, the perceived likelihood of achievement, the time that they're going to have to invest, the time delay, between them investing with you and getting the result, and the effort and sacrifice they're going to have to get through as well, you can then price your services according to that value. So if the value drastically outweighs the end result that they're going to get, and everything here, then it makes sense to charge more. So you want to conduct competitive analysis. And what I'm saying here is you want to go out and look for similar solutions in the market. The reason why I'm addressing similar in bold like that is because you want to stand out as one of one ideally. You don't want to be categorized in the same boat as everybody else, because that's why we're taking the time to build out a unique mechanism and build out those core pillars to your offer so you can actually stand out and you can price your services based on value and not based on what everyone else is doing, because that's how you'll look the same as everyone else and how you'll drive the amount you're charging right to the bottom, because everyone else is willing to do the same thing for cheaper. You want to stand out, you want to do something different. And it's much more beneficial and profitable for you to create a solution that's vastly superior in value than it is for you to provide the same service but just do it a little bit better and just see what everyone else is doing and then price your services the same as that. Because you're going to look the same as everyone else. You're going to be judged on price and not value, and you're going to end up getting commoditized. So as per this value equation here, the best offers are the ones that take the smallest amount of time, cost, and effort for you to fulfill and for the prospect to get that end result. So make sure you take the deliverables of what you're doing on the offer into account and price accordingly due to that. So let's say it costs you, I don't know, $5,000 to fulfill your offer for each client. It doesn't make sense for you to charge $3,000 because it's really dependent on how much work you're going to have to do on your end and how much value the prospect actually sees. So we want to be priced on value and not cost. And you're only going to be priced on cost if you look the exact same as everyone else in your market. We want to be in a league of our own. And pricing is dynamic as well. So take this with a pinch of salt and realize that we're not locking you in for one pricing model for the rest of eternity here. We can always add iterations to this. We can always raise prices. We can always make amendments. And it's really done by just taking the offer to the market first of all, and then seeing how they actually respond. So another key step in your offer here that's not talked about much, I don't see many people leveraging this at all, especially in service-based businesses, is scarcity and urgency. And the reason why these things work is because they actually tap in to how we behave as humans, and they tap into pure human instincts. So they trigger a fear of missing out, and they also create a sense of heightened value and immediacy for the prospects and ultimately drive them to take action. So we can leverage this massively. There's a few things we can do here. So identifying scarcity triggers. So determining what elements of your offer can be used to create a sense of scarcity. So for example, it could be limited quantities, it could be limited time availability, or bonuses for people that come on board quickly. So if you're running a new offer, you could say for the first 5 people that join, we're gonna do 10% off, or you're gonna get this bonus, etc. Limited quantities. So if you're a service-based business and let's say you have a marketing agency for, I don't know, real estate agents, if you genuinely can only take on 2 or let's say you can only take on 5 clients a month, advertise that, put that out there. Why not? Because prospects are going to see it. They're going to induce that sense of FOMO within themselves. And if that's already a case, if you know you can only take on 5 clients a month, then make that known, because it's going to be in your favor for sure. Setting specific deadlines. So making deadlines visible and communicating them clearly to potential customers through marketing channels. So for example, you could say, for the rest of the year, we're only taking on 4 new clients, or for the rest of the year, the price is going to be at this point, and then next year we're raising it to this point. So again, it's creating a sense of urgency for the prospect so they can get in quickly whilst this offer lasts. Again, emphasizing the scarcity of your offer. So talking about how it's available only for a limited amount of time or in limited quantities. Using countdown timers. So you see that a lot in landing pages and VSLs where there's like a counting down timer of like, this price is only available for this set amount of time, and it shows a countdown. Again, can be really effective. Creating FOMO is a really, really important thing, and this is really like the core tenet that scarcity and urgency play on. It's invoking the fear of missing out in your target audience. So it's using persuasive language, storytelling, everything like that to basically make the prospect think, okay, this isn't going to be around forever. It's scarce. I need to act urgently to get in on this because it's not going to be around forever. Again, we want to monitor and adjust the effectiveness of different scarcity and different urgency tactics that we're trying out, using analytics, using feedback from the market as well. So if we're not actually taking data that we're receiving from taking this to market, then we won't be able to make necessary improvements and iterations and use it to our advantage. The next stage of building a good offer is using social proof. So this is essential to basically making your prospect aware that you have a high likelihood of getting them to their dream outcome. So we want to document all the evidence and all the value around your offer, and then leverage all of this evidence to appeal to your target market. And there's three main forms to do this. Testimonials. So again, that's people like testifying on your behalf, saying, yes, this is great, the service is really good, the product is really good, whatever. Reviews. Again, that's in the same form, but they're not doing it out of you asking them. They're doing it on their own accord. Case studies. So again, this is like a clear journey that the prospect has gone through on A to B. It's usually in a lot more depth than a testimonial. And with the majority of the social proof, you want to be documenting as much as possible. The more, the better. So collect as much as possible in these three different forms and show it to your target audience as much as possible, because what this is all about is just building credibility. And in turn, this just creates more sales. So something that's interesting is you don't have to create your own credibility either. You can also borrow credibility from other people's audiences just by getting in front of them. You can do that in the form of collaboration, endorsements, and you really want to keep two principles in mind when building this social proof and documenting everything on your behalf to raise the likelihood of the prospect having faith in you to deliver that outcome. Authenticity, so make sure everything that you're documenting is real and it comes across as authentic, because people can smell bullshit from a mile away. Relevance, make sure that everything you're talking about is actually relevant to your target audience. Like, yeah, you can talk about, like, you can get loads of people testifying on your behalf, but if they're not in the same position as your target audience, if they're not relevant to the problem that you're helping them solve, then it doesn't really matter, right? Step 7 is guarantees, and this is the last stage. So when Alex Hormozy released that book, $100 Million Offers, which is a phenomenal book, the market almost took it the wrong way. And instead of building out everything to do with an offer and looking at it in a cohesive way and looking at offers with all the components, they just thought, okay, we'll just throw these crazy guarantees out there and we don't actually have to put any thought into it. We don't have to reference the prospect's pain points. We don't have to make it relevant to the prospect. We just have to throw these crazy claims out there, and then the prospect will have to come forward because it doesn't make sense for them not to. So it's literally become a game of people just throwing around these crazy outcomes and then slapping a guarantee on the top. So it really is starting to work less and less in 2024 as people are gaining more awareness to what people are doing and what marketers are doing. So again, like, they're craving people understanding them. They're craving people actually reference their pain points, their goals, and making them feel understood. And if your guarantee alone is what makes prospects buy, not only do you have a huge problem, but you also don't really have a business. Like, if prospects are only buying in accordance with what your guarantee is because you said you'll give them this crazy refund and you're gonna get them this crazy result, and if not, you'll just give them all their money back. Like, if that's the only reason they're buying, then it can create a lot of problems down the line. You want to make sure that you actually have a solution that they have confidence in you being able to solve outside of the guarantee. So all the guarantee should really do is serve as a medium to give the prospect that extra boost of confidence to go ahead with your solution after they've already bought into your core pillars and your offer already. It shouldn't be a crutch that you lean on to make sales. It shouldn't be the only thing available that you have to get them across the line. You should have that. They should be bought into your service. They should be bought into the value already, and the guarantee should just be the cherry on top. So here's some examples of guarantees that can be effective. So we've got something like a satisfaction guarantee. So if they're not satisfied, this is, again, I'd recommend doing this if you have a huge amount of confidence in your product or service. Money back guarantee, and this can be like they can get their money back. Again, you can make this conditional, so they have to follow these conditions. They have to do this, this, and this if they want to get their money back, and it can be unconditional. So again, they can get their money back even if they don't go through those conditions. It can be a results-based guarantee. So if they don't hit a certain result, if they don't make a positive return on investment, if they don't get this outcome, if they don't get these results, then you'll give them their money back. You'll work for free. You'll give them a bonus, whatever. There's The point of this is, and the point of guarantees and the positioning of guarantees, is that there's infinite ways to reverse risk for your prospect. And that's what it is. That's what guarantees serve the purpose of doing. It's making the prospect see going ahead with your service or going ahead with your product as less risky because they have something to fall. They have like almost something to fall back on. So the main thing is to have your guarantee as an added bonus for those prospects. And they should already be bought into your solution and yourself before making that decision to go ahead. It shouldn't just be the guarantee that makes them go ahead, essentially. They should already be bought into your process. So this is what I'd do if I'd want to create a new offer in 2024. And I wanted to move away from these crazy headline claims that everyone was making and the landscape that we live in 2024, where prospects are getting more aware of these crazy claims. They're being made all the time. They're gaining less trust in people that make them. This is how I'd combine those claims, back it up with evidence, whilst actually being relevant to the prospects and making them feel understood. Also, whilst building out a unique mechanism and differentiating myself from the tons of other people that are offering a similar service, but just positioning it in an old, outdated way. So that's everything that I've got for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you want more information about what we do ourselves, there's a link in the description. It's 2-to-1 private consulting, mentorship. And yeah, should be interesting for you. Feel free to check it out. If you've got any more ideas of videos you want to make, let me know. And I'll see you in the next one.